Welcome to the Football Forecast, your ultimate guide to the NFL week ahead. Get ready as we dive deep into the biggest matchups, analyze key player performances, and break down the strategies that could make or break your favorite team's chances. Whether you're looking to dominate your fantasy league, make smart picks and bets, or simply stay ahead of the game, we've got you covered with insights and predictions. So buckle up, football fans. It's time to get your game face on for another action-packed week in the NFL. While only one team can hoist the trophy at the end, it all starts with the forecast. All right, we're back for the Football Forecast, Week 18 on the Empty the Bench Podcast Network. Make sure you follow us on social media at TFB Forecast, ETB, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, if it still exists. Or follow our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network, as we get closer to 900 subscribers and hopefully get to that magic number of 1,000. Subscribe. The only reason I'm doing that motion is because it usually puts a rainbow loop around the subscribe button on YouTube. So
I don't think anybody understood the motion.
It's whatever, a circle motion, whatever.
It should be like a click, you know? It should be...
Or a click. No, but I meant like when you see it on like the actual YouTube video below, you see true, like the round motion. But
I would say subscribe, unsubscribe, and then subscribe again.
Well, that makes the number go up, down, and then up again.
But I thought that was like actually good for the algorithm.
Maybe.
I don't know if that's true or not, but I've heard that.
All right. Anyway, if you can't watch the video side, listen to the Football Forecast wherever you get your podcasts. It's every podcast platform. We are on every audio podcasting platform, so please go check it out there as well. And also, the Football Forecast is presented by Playback. Watching sports is more fun with others, but we spend too much of our time watching alone. Playback is a virtual space where communities can stream live sports together with everyone perfectly synced up. Creators can hop on stage, deliver their own play-by-play analysis and commentary, and invite viewers up for Q&A. Playback makes watching sports fully interactive and a social experience, from playing fantasy sports, repping your favorite players and teams, and watching with the commentators and communities you care about. Win or lose, sports are best enjoyed together. Join our community by going to playback.tv/ETB Network to find out more, including our live stream schedule. We will be getting back to the NBA streams, so just be aware of our schedules that are coming out. MLB is on the horizon for next year, and I did read that WWE streams are coming back also, too. So just keep that all in mind as we get ready to go. So this is Week 18 of the NFL season. It is the last week of the regular season. This is, Johnny, what did you refer to Week 18 as? Basically, it's one of those odd weeks.
Yeah, I think this is the weirdest, and you can make the case the toughest week every year. Week one's always tough because you don't really see these teams playing the preseason, but between playoff scenarios, between players resting, we're going to have a lot of that today. This, I feel like, is the toughest week to predict, but that's what this whole year has felt like, too. So,
yeah, and quickly, because Zan reminded me at the end of last, because I forgot to do it, the updated points. So Zan is in the lead. He finally took the lead over me, 333. I have 331. Grant has 324. Anthony has 322. Nick has 321. Ben has 308. So it's very, very close.
Very close.
A lot of good records this week. I was 9-4-3. Zan was 10-3-3. Grant was 10-5-1. Nick was the leader this week at 11. Or actually, you were tied, 11-3-2. Anthony was 11-1-4. Ben was 9-5-2, and Johnny, good week, 10-5-1.
All right, momentum. Although the lock missed yet again for me.
The locks were a little rough this week, but
well, that's what's going to make Week 18 very, very, very interesting, because I don't know where we go for locks. I guess we'll find out.
The Giants.
What's that?
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
No Saquon. We'll save that when we get to the game.
We'll get there, yeah. But
all right, Johnny.
Let's do this thing. Two things first. Number one, Happy New Year, guys.
Yeah, Happy New Year to everybody. It's 2025.
Happy New Year.
We only have like 48 more hours to say Happy New Year.
Yeah,
After that, it's an
that's
outdated
debate. I know we could
I was
spend
going
a
to
lot of
ask
time
that
on that.
actually. Like, how long do you have? Like, what day of the? Is it the first week? Is it a couple days?
I'd say the first week.
Yeah, I say the first week because I'm
It's
gonna
the first
I'm
week,
gonna
but you
say
have to
Happy
say it
New
to
Year
somebody once, because after that, then it's like once you use it once, you can't do it again.
Oh yeah, you can't say it more than one time.
You know what the worst is?
Like one person. Yeah.
Sports talk radio or political talk radio, and they're still with like Happy New Year on like January 7th or 8th.
Come back from 2-week vacation, yeah.
And I'm like, all right, it's enough already.
And number two, on a little bit of more of a serious note, as we do this today, our thoughts and prayers are with everybody in New Orleans off that awful attack. They just finished up actually the Sugar Bowl down there in New Orleans now as we're recording this. So
no spoilers.
Get that
No
game
spoilers.
In. Nope, just saying that.
Boys for me are like TV shows. Like
do people even do that anymore with TV shows? Like everything digital. You can't even really do that anymore.
But
no, it's easier to do it with TV shows.
Yeah,
things like Netflix.
Usually those kind of stories you try and get away from them, and that's why sports are. But they actually did have a sports angle too, because it did affect the Sugar Bowl, which got moved to Thursday.
I mean, the amount of security at that game was insane. Like it was almost like 10 presidents were there.
We'll talk about it a lot more, I'm sure, on your shows next week. But let's get to the
sporting events have amazing security.
No, but this was like out of this world.
Okay, think of it this way: about a year ago, last summer, somebody snuck cocaine into the White House.
Yes.
I couldn't sneak Chinese food into Madison Square Garden. So, just for perspective.
All right.
I'm going to tell you a story about that off the air because I could argue against that.
But it's too good for the air, so we got to save it for after.
It's time. It's time.
Yeah. All right.
That's what it is. But let's do this, guys. Week 18 here in the NFL, the regular season finale. And let's start with some history and with college. Nick D, I'll go to you because we have a college crew here in game number 1. Chris Fowler, Dan Orlovsky, Louis Riddick, Laura Rutledge on ESPN and ABC as we get the Cleveland Browns facing the Baltimore Ravens at M&T Bank Stadium. And history here on the ETB Network, because this is the biggest line in the history of the ETB Network. The Ravens, a near 3-touchdown favorite. And we do have some playoff scenarios to go over as well, including in this one, Nick D. So the Ravens can clinch the AFC North Division title and the number 3 seed very simply if they win or tie or the Steelers lose or tie. But to start things off, what do you have here?
DTR is starting for Cleveland, right?
He is not. No, it is Bailey. I'm sorry, I should have mentioned this at the open too. Bailey Zappi is starting for the Browns, which is one of the reasons that jumped up. Yeah.
So they're third stringer.
Third or fourth stringer, pretty much.
I see you.
That is fourth, actually.
You know what? I like the Ravens to cover the 20 points. I think the Ravens are actually going to blow them out. My only worry is that I'm afraid that they might call the dogs off. So basically, if the Steelers are also playing at 1:00, right?
They're playing the night game. They'll be playing right after this one.
Oh, okay. Then they might not call the dogs off. Then I really like the Ravens -20. I think they win by 3 touchdowns or more. I think the Browns are hardly going to score any points. I think the Ravens are going to win like maybe 31-7. It'll look like the Giants Bucks game.
Okay, let's go to Grant.
Okay, so the Browns are back in their poverty part of the franchise. Like I'm sorry to say it, but seriously, they are. And giving Deshaun Watson that contract was not a great idea. And with them playing, with the Ravens playing all their starters, this line is huge. And if it was any other week, I wouldn't take this. But I think the Ravens are gonna kick the Browns' butt, so I will take the Ravens to win a cover.
Anthony.
Yeah, to what Grant said about the Browns being in poverty, I'm kind of glad. I mean, they kind of deserve it. I mean, for what they did there, Baker Mayfield, and now seeing Baker Mayfield have the success that he has in Tampa Bay, I mean, I'm just happy for him, and it's exactly what the Browns get for making the mistake for going with Deshaun Watson. But, just like the Ravens have something to play for, the Browns have something to lose for. Obviously, they have a good shot at potentially getting one of those top draft picks and maybe getting one of those top quarterbacks. And that, honestly, that's what they really need to fix this franchise. And obviously, the Ravens have a good shot at winning the division. So I think Lamar Jackson will be playing in his MVP caliber form. I think Derrick Henry will have a great game. And obviously with the Browns, I don't care if it's DTR or if it's Bailey Zappi. The Ravens could tend to cover these big point spreads. So give me the Baltimore Ravens to win and cover.
Pat?
So I was having some trouble with this one because it's like 20 points, man. Like, come on. Like, you really can't give me a 20-point spread. And then I thought about it, and I was like, well, Bailey Zappi's starting. Jerome Ford's out. Chubb's obviously out. Jerry Judy's off his hot streak. Elijah Moore's off the hot streak. I think Njoku might be out too. Like, what is Cleveland got going on? And like you said, they're trying to lose. They're trying to get a top pick. The Ravens are trying to win. They're trying to make the playoffs. 20 points is so massive, but it does feel right for this game, so I will take the Ravens to cover.
Well, the Browns are going to get a boost, though, with Bailey Zappi starting, though. So they'll score. Maybe they're going to score as many as 13 points.
So how many SpongeBob jokes are going to be made because of him starting?
I don't know, but I'm going to give them 13. How's that? I'll give the Browns 13. The problem is the Ravens are going to put up easily 35 plus in this one. So when I looked at the Ravens in their last 3 games, their average margin of victory is over this number. So, and that was against better competition. So if they could do it against those teams, they could clearly do this against this Browns team, which just can't score, can't defend, can't do much of anything right now. I'm going to take the Ravens, lay the 20 points. Ben.
I don't know if I'm going to be the lone wolf, but I think this is just too big of a number. I know the Browns are a great team, but I think the Ravens will probably win by like 17. I think it pretty much just be like barely, like they don't get it. The Browns were actually one of the teams that did beat the Ravens early in the season, and so I do think they're going to play with some pride. I know defensively they've kind of been a little bit lacking, but in division type of game with the line like that, I just don't feel comfortable with it being a 20-point spread, even though the Ravens are a clear, much better team. So I'm going to obviously have the Ravens to win, but I just think it's too many points here.
And Nick.
So I can't believe I'm breaking this out for game 1. So the spread is too big. The theory is that the spread is going to keep going, that you're going to fall off a cliff because you're expecting you need a 3 touchdown victory to cover the spread. Do you realize how massive that is as a spread? All right, I'm going to place my money on 3 touchdowns.
Let me just say, people said the same thing when the Ravens played the Giants.
I understand, but no one expected that 5 touchdowns out of Lamar either. Yeah, this spread is too big. The Ravens are going to win. No one's questioning that. The Ravens are definitely going to win. But this spread is too massive. Browns cover the number.
All right. So,
if it was like 15, I'd probably go with the Ravens here. But I just think that 20 extra, I think that's just too much.
If this is 13 to 15, I'm with you. Not 20.
All right, so Nick, you took Browns outright, right?
Yeah, right.
Wow, what would the money line be, by the way?
I can look that up.
Like plus 1,500 or something?
I'm looking it up right now.
All right. Well, you look that up, and we'll head to the night game on Saturday night. And actually, Nick Morgensen, I'm going to go to you. It is, in fact, a Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, Lisa Salter special on ESPN and ABC as Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals head to Aquashore Stadium to face Russell Wilson and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we have a double playoff scenario in this game. The Bengals are a 2-point favorite, so let me go over these really quick. Now the Bengals can clinch a playoff berth if they win, Denver loses, and Miami loses or ties. And for the Steelers, obviously the reverse of the first game, they can clinch the AFC North Division title, the number 3 seed, with a win and a Baltimore loss.
This is actually going to be a good game. And I rarely say that about any Bengals game this year whatsoever. By the way, I did look up the number. The Browns are plus 1,300 on the money line.
Oh, man, that would be epic.
What would that pay out if you?
I think you have to bet it. You don't get money lines like that in football. You have to bet it.
Let's see. So a $5 would pay out 70.
You have to bet that on a money line, in my opinion, in a football game. But
long story short, just look back at this game. This is a good one, but I just think the Bengals are toast. I just think the Steelers have more to play for. And I think they're going to be more aggressive in this game. It's a home game for the Steelers. I think that matters too. I think if the Steelers are on the road, maybe this is a different scenario, partially. But I just think the Steelers have more to play. I know the Bengals have all the scenarios. First of all, they could win this game, but those scenarios, all those other scenarios are not going to happen. So it's not going to matter anyway. So they're going to miss the playoffs regardless. So I just think the Steelers are hungry. They want to get in, and we'll see how it goes from there. But I'm taking the Steelers outright.
Nick D?
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Steelers to win outright, actually, because it seems like no matter what happens, they still have something to play for.
For who? The Steelers?
Yeah. They have the AFC title. On
well,
even if the Ravens win, is what I'm saying.
It would be seeding if the Ravens did win.
Okay, so if they win, they get the 6th seed, and if they lose, they get the 7th seed, assuming the Chargers win.
Yeah, because they're both 10 and 6.
So no matter what, they're going to be playing for something. The thing with the Bengals is that like Joe Burrow can play like an amazing game, and which he often has.
His defense is going to kill him.
Right, and they still often lose or come close to losing. So I just and given the fact that the Bengals have nothing to play for at this point, look, you never know. Sometimes those teams are the most dangerous. You never know. The teams that have nothing to play for.
Oh, spoilers.
Yeah, but I still like the Steelers to win and win outright.
Grant?
Yeah. So the Steelers are going to win, and I'm going to take them to cover too. But I will say this: based on how Zach Taylor and the Bengals have been playing recently, I do believe that Zach Taylor kind of lucked into saving his job, because if you asked me a month ago if Zach Taylor would still be the head coach of the Bengals after this season, I probably would have told you no, because the Bengals were playing good, but they weren't winning. But, in the last 3 weeks, they've played well and won. But I'm still going to take the Steelers to win and cover.
Anthony?
Yeah, I said last week that when you looked at all those scenarios with the Bengals and that they needed to make the playoffs, the one that scared me the most was Kansas City and Denver, because now with Kansas City having to bench their starters, it's going to be really hard for Denver not to, win that game. So that's going to be making it really tough for the Bengals. But like I said, I think that they were going to win last week against the Broncos. They did. And I think they're going to pull it off again. I know it's going to be a tough matchup. They're going to be going on the road. The Steelers are due for a win. They both have a lot to play for. Just right now, the way Joe Burrow is clicking and the way Jamar Chase is clicking, I know I may be the only one picking the Bengals. And last time they did play the Steelers, the Steelers did win pretty convincingly. But I just have to trust Joe Burrow at this time, knowing that he does have a small chance of making the playoffs. So give me the Bengals to win and cover.
Pat?
Yeah, I think the Bengals will still fight for like they're supposed to be in the playoffs. I think they'll play this game as hard as they can, no matter what. And I do think that they got hot at the right time, and I think the Steelers have cooled down at the wrong time. So just because of that, because they're division rivals and both good teams, I did think they would split this year. So give this one to the Bengals.
Yeah, I don't know what you're saying as far as that the Steelers have more to play for, because they're in the playoffs. The Bengals are not in yet. And this is a true momentum pick for me, because the Bengals have gone from 4-8 to 8-8 with a chance to get in, and the Steelers have coming off of 3 losses in 11 days. And I know those were against some of the best teams in the league, but you're now playing one of the hottest teams in the league right now in the Bengals. And, Joe Burrow is red hot. Russell Wilson is red not. TJ Watt, great defensive player, but he's not having a TJ Watt kind of year this year. So the saying is that offense wins games, defense wins championships. Well, this is a game. I'm going to go with the offense. I'm going to give me the team that's got the red hot team and the red hot quarterback, and that is the Bengals to win and cover here. And Ben.
Yeah, so I think we have to all basically say this, that the Bengals season, regardless if they make it or not, does not depict on Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow early on this season, with a lot of their losses they had, a lot of the times he was phenomenal. And now specifically, in the last couple of weeks, he's been playing well. and they're finding ways to win. Earlier on this season is basically the opposite, where he was still playing really well, but they were finding ways to lose. So I think that, I know that, of course, this is a division type of game, but I'm right with the hot hand like Johnny, you said. I think the Bengals are going to find a way to win. I don't know if they're going to make the playoff because there's just so much that is going to probably be against them, but they get Chase Brown back. I know he left the game last week. That was a really potentially massive loss. If he was out, I'd definitely lean towards the Steelers because Chase Brown is basically Joe Burrow's security blanket when a lot of their receivers are getting defended. And Russell Wilson's kind of played a little bit, I wouldn't say as great as he was early in the season, but he's definitely turned the ball over a lot more, and he's just not playing with as much confidence. The Steelers have actually scored less than 20 points in the last 2 weeks, and I think that the Bengals did a pretty good job limiting a lot in terms of the turnover battle. So I think between that and the way that the offense has been playing for the Bengals, I'm going to have them to take care of the money.
All right, so we are split across the board there at Aquashore Stadium. Anthony, it's an Iron Eagle, Charles Davis, and Evan Washburn special on CBS. In the NFC South, it is the Carolina Panthers and Bryce Young taking on Michael Penix and the Atlanta Falcons. And the Falcons are an 8-point favorite. And a scenario in this game, the Falcons can clinch the NFC South division title if they win and a Buccaneer loss.
Yeah, the Panthers are a weird team. They look good some weeks and then they look poor other weeks. Ever since Bryce Young became the starting quarterback a second time, he has played well. But then they had that clunker against the Cowboys, and then obviously they got completely blown off the football field last week. But I think this is the type of game that they could at least keep close. Michael Penix being a rookie, I think J.C. Horn and that defense could do a little bit to slow him down. Ultimately, I do think the Falcons are the better team, and I do think the Falcons will win. But being a division game, being the last game of the season for Bryce Young to go out there and prove that he deserves to be the starter next season, I think the Panthers will keep it close. So give me the Falcons, no cover.
Pat.
I have been one of the biggest Falcons believers, probably the biggest Falcon believer of this network from the preseason. Obviously, didn't work out the way I thought it would. I still got to ride with them. I do think they'll win the division still. I think they'll squeak it out. Just a little spoiler. But, yeah, give me the Falcons to cover. I just like their team a lot. I like Penix a lot. And I think we have a little bit of like an underdog story brewing here. Just a little bit.
Man, I got burned by the Panthers last week, but that was before the news that Chuba Hubbard was going to be out. And I knew once that came across, that my pick was burned. I'm taking the Falcons laying the 8 because the Panther defense is still absolutely atrocious. And Michael Penix, to be fair, in his first 2 games has played well. He played very well in the second half against the Giants, and he took the Falcons to overtime against the Commanders last week in prime time. I think that was a big deal. But the Panther defense is so bad, and specifically, especially on the ground, and that should mean that Bijan Robinson should be able to go off and even alleviate the pressure for Penix. He had a big game in their first meeting, and also, to be fair here, the Falcons are the team that have a lot to play for, trying to win that division. So I will lay the 8 and take the Falcons in this game. Ben.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Falcons here. I saw the Panthers with my 2 eyes in Tampa Bay this past Sunday, and they looked atrocious. So I know that Bryce Young looked really good. I saw a lot of Bryce Young Panther jerseys, so shout out to the Panther fans that made their way to Tampa. But yeah, Michael Penix has been playing really well the last couple of weeks. I was actually contemplating this as my lock of the week, but I have another one that I do really like here. So I think the Falcons are going to win, though. I'm going to lay that 8 because they're playing really for desperation, and they know what's at stake here. So take the money.
By the way, I think that duck was more entertaining watching it that game.
Oh, it was definitely a Ducky great experience. And shout out to Bucky Irvin with the Duck in attendance for breaking the 1,000 rush record. So a lot of great things to see down in Tampa Bay. So
yeah. Nick Morganson, where you having this one?
So I have to say, by the way, great job by the NFL schedule makers to flex the Falcons Commanders into primetime. That game was fantastic, and Penix really came out to play and played fantastic. The Commanders were just a little too much in the end, and the offense just outplayed, and that's why they won. But I have to give Penix a lot of credit. He played well last week, and I think he has a bright future in Atlanta. Kirk Cousins is long gone. That's over. They're going to have to pay a huge cap load to get rid of that contract, but Penix is going to be bright. Now, like Johnny said, like this is an interesting game because the Panthers have been playing a little bit better, except for last week, but they played a little bit better. And Bryce has come around and actually played a little bit more competitive football. But the Falcons are a better team. They will cover this game. Penix looks good. Robinson looks good. They all look good offensively, and that's all that matters. So the Falcons will cover.
And Nick D.
Yeah, I like the Falcons. They've been, I mean, it's a small sample size, but they've been a bit of an offensive juggernaut since they started Michael Penix. I think part of the reason that is this is a fairly common thing, which is that defenses don't have film on him, which is what happens with a lot of new quarterbacks. So when they first break out into the league, they end up playing really well.
Jaden
So,
Daniels.
yeah, I think, yeah, a little bit. I think that's a little bit true. So then when teams get film on them, on the quarterback, then they play them a little better. And so I certainly think the Panthers also would fit that description as a team that doesn't have, even if the Panthers did have film on him, their defense is so bad, he'd probably put up like 30 points against them anyway. And I can't trust the Panthers offense to keep up. So, and not to mention they have nothing to play for. They seem to be sort of beat down. The Falcons are playing for their division. So I just think the Falcons are going to score too many points for the Panthers to be able to cover. I don't trust the Panthers.
It's a good call.
Yeah. And Grant?
Yeah. So yeah, the Falcons will win and cover here. I just want to bring up a little fun fact. When me and Pat were recording the NFC prediction video at the beginning of the football season, he told the people that watched that when we were recording that he thought the Panthers would get 6 wins, I believe. Was it 6?
I said they were a 5-6 win team. Yeah, and that would depend
And
on this week.
they're at 4, which I said was the more realistic outcome, and that's just how it's going to be. I'm sorry, Pat. I just had to bring that up. That was just a little.
I agree. Well, I did say they would hit 6 wins if the Falcons rested starters. I did project the Falcons to have the clear first seed in this division and not be competing this week. So I said if they rested starters, the Panthers could hit 6 wins. I expected them to be at 5 at this point. So I'm not too far off.
You're not
You
that
aren't too
far
far off. I just wanted to.
No, you were right. You were right for sure. Yes.
So you are taking the Falcons.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So Anthony, the only one going to be a little bit different in this game, but we all agree the Falcons will win there down in Atlanta. All right, Pat, an Adam Amin, Mark Sanchez, and Christina Pink special on Fox as we head to AT&T Stadium. Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders, a 6-point favorite against the Dallas Cowboys, as the Commanders can lock into the number 6 seed in the NFC with a win here.
So on that same show for predictions, I do want to say everyone picked the Cowboys to make the playoffs. I did not. So I got that one right. That was definitely a good one. And I will be picking against them here because I hate the Cowboys, and the Commanders are awesome. Even though I'm a Giants fan, I love the Commanders. I love watching the offense. I love Jaden Daniels.
Well, when you're a Giant fan, you have to find a new team to root.
Oh yeah, there has to be something, right?
That's like being a Jet fan.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
No, but seriously, like I never really hated the Commanders the way I hated like the Eagles and the Cowboys. So like it is cool to see them, find success, have a really good franchise quarterback that's fun to watch, and I love them. I love watching it. I don't think the Cowboys are worth a damn right now, really. I think they're just surviving. They're just waiting for the season to be over. They have been for a while, and I think the Commanders should pretty easily cover this number.
Pat, I'm going to echo everything you said there because the Commanders and the Eagles, yeah, they're rivals to me. I can't stand them, but I respect the hell out of them because of how they run their organizations. I mean, as I said, Howie Roseman, I can't stand the guy, but damn, he's probably one of the better GMs in the National Football League there with the Eagles. And the Commanders, they're getting it right. When you get the quarterback right, that's what happens. And yeah, I actually love them in this game because you saw it last week with the Cowboys too. Without CeeDee Lamb, that team is completely lifeless. And the Commanders have something to play. Again, this is a situation. The Commanders have something to play for, and no home field advantage for the Cowboys this year, unlike in years past. So I will take the Commanders to win this game by a touchdown at AT&T Stadium. Ben.
Yeah, I like the Commanders here. Like Pat was mentioning, the Cowboys really have nothing else to play for at this point in time. They haven't for a while. Is Mariota playing starting this one, I assume?
It looks like – no, I think Jaden Daniels is still starting.
Okay.
Because they have something to play for still.
Yeah, they're the wild card, right? They're trying to get the top second highest wild card.
Yeah,
That is correct. Yep.
All right. Well, regardless if Daniels wasn't playing or not, I'm still laying the 6 here. They had a really good win last week as well against the Falcons. So I just like the way the Commanders have been all year. So I'm going to give them a reward and lay the 6 here at Dallas.
Shuffling through a lot of papers here between Cruz and playoff scenarios and stuff. So Nick Morgeson.
I thought about this game for lock of the week. I did, but there's another game I really want to possibly stick to for that.
I wonder what it is.
Well, no, it might not be that game actually.
I don't think it will be.
But I like the Commanders. Like they have a ton to play for. Jaden Daniels is is he going to be offensive rookie of the year? Is that where we're
Probably. I would expect him to.
Him and BTJ are gonna have a battle for it, but I think BTJ. What?
No, there's no question. It's Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, I mean,
I think so, but BTJ's end of the year might throw him a
most
question.
of the time always a quarterback, I think.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd almost throw him up in the MVP discussion. He's not going to win it, but like you could throw him up there in the MVP discussion. Really, to be fair,
Yeah, for how he's playing, sure.
But the Cowboys are a dump, like just a massive dumpster fire, and they also took a dump on Zeke Elliott and released him. Also, even though I heard that was mostly because they wanted to allow him to find a playoff team to go be on.
Yeah, he won't. He won't.
I mean, I think no one took waivers on him, so he's officially a free agent now. But remember, Johnny, that was his big move. That was Jerry's big move because he was all in.
Couldn't happen to a better owner GM organization.
Exactly.
They're one of the best running backs in the league.
That's why I projected them to miss the playoffs. I mean, they went all in and did nothing. And teams that do nothing always get significantly worse.
A saying I haven't said in a very long time. They did diddly squat. So take the money. This is an easy cover.
Nick D.
Yeah, I like the Commanders, even though I think the Cowboys are actually going to keep it a little closer than you might think. But it's only a 1-score cover. And I do, because the Commanders often struggle against teams that are kind of inferior, which they've done a lot throughout the year. But I mean, they did lose to the Cowboys earlier this year. So I think it will be closer, but they have so much more to play for, and it's only a 1-score cover. So even if the Commanders struggle against the Cowboys, I have a feeling they'll still cover the spread anyway. So I can see them winning like 31-24, something like that.
Grant?
Yeah, I mean, the Commanders will win and cover this. There's not really much to talk about. I mean, the Cowboys are not in poverty, but they're held back because of their owner's ego. How about that?
That's right.
And I wonder if because Mike McCarthy's contract is up at the end of the season. They're not going to be in the playoffs. So I wonder if if Jerry Jones is going to say, "Here, Mike McCarthy, here's another contract for you," or if they're going to actually be looking for a new coach. We'll find out Monday.
Yep. Next, you're right. So you are taking the Commanders?
I'm taking the Commanders to win and cover. Yeah.
And Anthony, go ahead.
Yeah, Jaden Daniels is definitely offensive rookie of the year. He definitely locked it up with his performance against the Eagles and his performance against the Falcons. I'm a Bo Nix guy, but you definitely have to give it to Jaden Daniels, and that's why Jaden Daniels was selected to the Pro Bowl. And being a rookie quarterback, only 3 quarterbacks get selected from the conference. So to be a rookie quarterback and get selected for a Pro Bowl is really, really outstanding. And this is probably one of the greatest years for rookies. I mean, there's probably about 5 rookies this year that you could all give a good argument for being a rookie of the year in any given year. I mean, you got Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors. But man, Jaden Daniels has been, the class of this rookie class, and he's been unbelievable. And when I looked at this week, yeah, this was a tough week to pick a lock. But when I looked at this point spread, knowing that the Commanders do got something to play for, obviously if they lose and the Packers win, the Packers could get that 6th seed. So not only am I going to pick the Commanders to win and cover, but they're going to be my lock of the week.
There's our first lock of week 18. And yeah, if the Commanders fall to the 7th seed, they will be taking on the Eagles. So that's
a good matchup.
Yeah, that would be a pretty epic one. And I don't know if they want
to. Well, wait, that would be a good matchup if Hurts is healthy.
Yeah, that's a good point. And that
we'll get to them in a little bit.
Yeah, and that's something we'll definitely be paying attention to as the Super Wildcard Weekend starts up next week. Well, Grant, I'm going to go to you in this game. A Kevin Kugler, Darryl Moose Johnston, Laura Oakman special on Fox as your Chicago Bears head to Lambeau Field to face the Green Bay Packers, and it's the Packers a 10-point favorite.
Look, if a Packers fan ever asks me about this, I will deny that I did it. But is there a way that the Bears could just skip this game? Because there is no reason to watch this game at all. I know that for how messed up Caleb Williams' rookie year has gone. It's been a pretty good rookie year for him in terms of yards and touchdowns to interceptions and all that. But your head coach gets fired, which was warranted. But your offensive coordinator gets fired first, which honestly it should have been the other way around. But again, I'm gonna say it. If anyone asks me about this, I will deny that I did it. But I'm gonna make the Packers my lock of the week.
Oh,
nothing personal, Grant.
Mutiny.
Wait, Grant. Just to be fair, how many times have the teams that we root for, our own guys, have we bench locked against? It's nothing personal. It's the business of making a pick.
I've done it.
Mm-hmm. I was also going to say that feeling of skipping the week. That's what the Giants fans have felt all year. Don't worry. We wanted to skip every week this season.
Can I be honest with you? I will be honest with you, and Grant, and I can say this to Grant because Grant's got this crew. I was going to say that about the Falcons, but because he's got Kugler, Johnston, and Oakman, I think at least he's got a good crew, and they're one of my favorite trios. So
maybe they'll get a viral clip out of it.
Yeah.
And for me, I just want to get to the off season so we can actually start hopefully turn this around with the coaching search. Now, I don't know if how it will go with who's in the upper chairs, but who knows?
Ben Johnson.
No,
that's what I want. But
I think Vrabel's a better fit for the Bears than Ben Johnson is.
Who?
Vrabel.
I like Vrabel too.
Yeah, I mean, I think actually the Bears and the Jets are similar. I think they both need experienced guys.
Are at the top of my list. I will say that those two names are at the top of my list.
The dark horse name, and then I'll let you continue. Pete Carroll was a name that was being discussed also.
He won't get considered as deeply as people think.
No, he shouldn't.
Anthony?
Yeah, this one's easy. The Packers actually have something to play for, and I think after kind of being embarrassed last week, I think they're going to come ready to play. And the Bears over the last pretty much 3/4 of the football season has been on a long losing streak. Nothing has gone right for them. I feel bad for Caleb Williams. I know he tends to hold on to the ball extra long, but I really don't think you could put the blame on him. I think he can be a good quarterback. I just think this team just needs the right coaching staff and maybe potentially a new GM as well. But it's not Caleb Williams' fault. But right now, this season is a disaster for the Bears, and it's time to go on to 2025. And thank God it is the new year for the Chicago Bears. So give me the Packers to win and cover.
Pat.
I love the Packers. That defense has been electric this year. I mean, just one of the best defenses in football. I mean, they're one of the youngest teams. They have a bunch of weapons on offense. They're just so fun to watch. I love the Green Bay Packers. The Bears have definitely been a bit underwhelming, to say the least. their defense at least was looking really good to start the year too, and then that kind of even fell off, and then it's just been very ugly. I debated making this my lock of the week, but I think I'll stay away from it just because it's that kind of division game. But I will take the Packers to cover.
For everything that Anthony said and the fact that Matt LaFleur loves playing the Bears is why I'm taking the Packers minus the 10.
That's it.
This is actually his 100th. This is his 100th NFL coaching game.
Oh, wow.
And he's 11-0 against the Bears.
Jeez, doesn't that give you all you need to know?
Yep. Ben.
Yeah, the Bears have just been absolutely embarrassing. No pun
Oh,
intended.
jeez.
I
Sorry,
should have thought of that. Nice pun there, Ben.
sorry, Grant. No pun intended. But yeah, the Packers are at home. The Bears have nothing to play for. I was actually considering this as my lock of the week, and LaFleur said he's basically playing all the starters. I know Christian Watson's out, but that doesn't really matter. The running game's very good. They create turnovers, and the Bears just have had a hard time scoring in like all year. So right here, the Packers take the money.
Nick Morganson.
Yeah, again, like some others have said, I actually was thinking about this as a lock of the week again, but too rich for my blood for the spread. But the Packers have been dominant. Jordan Love has come in and played well. Josh Jacobs has really found his team. I think he's going to be here for the long term. The Watson injury is a little bit questionable and scary to me, a little bit also, just because he's supposed to be their big guy and he has really disappeared and been nowhere to be found. So that's a little bit questionable to me. But the Bears just have nothing except Caleb Williams, who is a good start. You need a quarterback to build a franchise, so that's a good start. But they're all over the place, and I can't even give them sympathy. Like I try to give them sympathy, and I can't. So Packers cover.
It's okay.
Nick D.
Yeah, I like the Packers to cover the points. At this point in the season, it's just like the Packers have. Everybody has said it. The Bears season is just the wheels kind of fell off, and the Packers have a lot more to play for. And it looks like they're playing all their starters, and they have seeding that they actually have to play for. So I think the Packers is an easy pick.
All right, clean sweep there, and Grant putting his lock of the week there at Lambeau Field. All right, these next couple of games have no implication on seeding or playoff scenarios, so these are true fast tracks where we'll just give you a quick pick. As we head over to Lucas Oil Stadium for this next game, guys, this is the 7th game that Fox has this week, so we need a 7th crew. So I give you Jason Benetti, Brady Quinn, and Sarah Kustok on Fox.
Wow.
As the Jaguars take on the Colts, and the Colts a 5-point favorite, and I'll go first, and I'm going to take the Colts to win and cover in what could be the last start for Joe Flacco. Ben Cruz.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys heard about it, but yeah, Joe Flacco will be playing in this one. I know he played last week. There was reports out that Anthony Richardson throughout the holidays was crawling. So that basically tells you everything that you need to know about him potentially playing the rest of the year, which he won't be. But yeah, the Jaguars, Mac Jones, Joe Flacco, either one. But Colts are at home. Take the money.
Nick.
Go watch something else. That's what I promise to tell you right now. This is going to be an ugly game, but I'll just give you one more. Mac Jones has been terrible. Take the Colts.
Nick D.
Colts. Flacco starting.
Yeah. Greg, go ahead.
Yeah, it's
What?
the Colts. I mean, the Jaguars are going to be restarting everything from head coach to GM. Probably not the quarterback, but most of their roster is going to be gone. I'll say that. Colts.
Okay, so you're taking that.
Yeah.
Anthony?
Yeah, I'm going to go Colts to cover. The only thing I'm interested in watching in this game is Brian Thomas Jr., the rookie phenom, going up against the Indianapolis Colts secondary.
And Pat.
So I'm going to echo what Ant said a bit there. I'm actually going to take the Jaguars because the New York Giants beat a Colts team trying to win last week. BTJ is going to eat them like lunch, like literal lunch. He might have 250 yards. So I think BTJ might beat the Colts by himself here. I don't know why. I'm feeling it. Go ahead.
Wow.
And take the
Taking the
Jaguars.
road less traveled
Yep.
at Lucas Oil Stadium. All right, another fast track because there's no scenarios in this game. Anthony, will go to you. A Spiro, Adam, and Aditi special on CBS. It is the Buffalo Bills against the New England Patriots, and the Bills a 2.5-point favorite.
Yeah, I think Josh Allen will obviously start to keep that streak going. He's got, I think, the number one streak for consecutive starts. But he'll probably play the first drive and then they'll pull him. So you won't see many of the starters. And like I say to all Patriots fans, the Bills are playing chess, not checkers, and we don't want the Patriots getting a good draft pick. So I think the Patriots are actually going to go out and win this game. So give me the Patriots to win in the upset.
Wow.
Ben?
Anthony, I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to lean toward your Bills for the 2.5. We need that number one pick. Number one, Travis Hunter, Pat, and who else do we have here? I was gonna say Tom, but all my Giants fans here. Oh, Johnny as well.
Yes.
Drew Lock, I love you, but we just gotta lose.
Yes.
This weekend. Bills, take the money.
God, this is pathetic.
Like I said to you in the chat last week, Ben, for the second straight year, you're welcome.
This is pathetic.
I got that text, funny enough, after the Panthers-Bucks game I was at.
The battle of losers.
Well, hey, you need a draft pick too, though. So,
yeah.
What about you, Pat?
This is such a gross game.
and Drake May.
I think the Patriots are going to try to tank it, and I think they're going to mess it up only because of how hard the Patriots fans trolled me last week. I want to see you guys mess it up.
That's all right.
That's it. That's the only reason I'm picking the Patriots.
I'm gonna take the higher road in all this, and I'm gonna say for 98% of this game, give me the team with the better quarterback playing, and that's Drake May and the New England Patriots to win this game over the Buffalo Bills. Because Drake May is better than Mitch Trubisky.
Damn right he is.
Nick Morrison?
Wow, I'm stunned. Actually, this is the Drake and Josh matchup, just like I was hoping for.
It's not.
It's going to be for one series. Yes, that counts, though.
Still counts.
It does count. It does count in the stat book, yes.
I mean, this is crazy. You're telling me that the Bills, even with the backup, they're the better team, even with the backups. This is not even a question. The Bills are going to win. And on top of that, the Bills are the lock for me.
Interesting. Okay.
Because the Patriots have nothing to play for. Nothing. I know Drake May is great, and I think he has a future. By the way,
Neither do the Bills though.
What?
Neither do the Bills.
Wait, what did you think I said? I said that I said that the Patriots have no future.
You said they have nothing to play
They have
for.
nothing to play for.
The Bills don't have anything to play for either.
No, but I'm just saying I just think the Patriots are not going to be motivated to play anything whatsoever. I think the Bills are going to stay in tune somewhat because they're heading into the playoffs. So I just think that I think they'll be a little more motivated to play. So they're my lock.
Interesting. Yeah, because see, I totally disagree with that. Nick D?
Yeah, I like the Patriots. The Bills neither team has anything to play for. I feel like I could totally see the Patriots ending up screwing up their draft position by winning this game. I really think it's gonna happen.
But wait, can I just say one thing though? It's not the worst thing in the world if the Patriots don't get the number one pick because they do really. There are teams that really need the number one overall pick. I don't think the Patriots are that team.
Sanders is garbage.
No,
that's not the point. They're not going to. They don't need Shador Sanders, though, Nick. So you're kind of saying that
they'll either trade out or draft Travis Hunter.
Right. I agree with that. I think them and the Jaguars.
Right?
But wait a minute. Why is everyone so obsessed with Sanders? I don't understand.
He's one of the best quarterbacks.
I don't think a lot of people are that obsessed with Sanders.
I think the people that are obsessed with
you're
him
following
is
the wrong
because
people, Nick. That's the problem.
Deion Sanders' son.
Yeah.
What?
As a Giants fan.
No, and Pat, you and I think can agree on this. I'd rather Cam Ward before Sanders.
That's what I'm saying.
I think I'd rather Sanders, but I'd rather no QB. I'd rather take a bridge QB and not force one of these quarterbacks to be a top 2 pick when they don't deserve to be.
Totally
I'd go out and get McCarthy in a trade.
That would be
That's
perfect.
an interesting
I
choice.
think-
Yeah.
That would be good.
I think the reason that Shador Sanders is so hyped up is because he's Deion Sanders' son.
Well,
That's exactly
obviously.
But he's also one of the best quarterbacks in college
No,
football.
he is.
Nick,
It's both. It's
Nick,
both.
let me ask you a question. Okay,
Yeah.
first of all, let's take Deion Sanders out of the equation. Let's say that Deion Sanders was not his coach. Now, I feel like he would be, a lot more talked about even if he wasn't Deion Sanders' son, but also if he was playing at a college like Alabama or Oregon or any playoff type of caliber built team. And I'm not saying that Colorado is a bad team because Deion Sanders has built up that program, but I'm saying, I wonder what Shedeur Sanders would have done if he was actually at like a college powerhouse type of college.
I'll say one thing because then I know we got to move on. This hype feels like and Nick, I know you're going to disagree with me on this, but it feels like LeVar Ball and his son's hype. That's what it feels like.
I don't think that's entirely wrong. It is fairly similar, actually, because Lonzo Ball was also a very good college basketball player. You can't say Lonzo Ball wasn't one of the best college basketball players.
I think it's the same situation for both. They're both some of the best players at their positions, and they're also hyped up because of their dad.
It's very similar, except Deion Sanders deserves to be talked about a lot more than LeVar Ball did.
Well, that's a good point. I'll give you that for sure, because at least
LeVar
Deion
Ball was famous for being Lonzo's dad and being kind of crazy.
And then he disappeared off the scene. All right, we're off topic. Let's continue.
So I give my pick. I'm taking the Patriots.
You said the Patriots, yes.
Yes.
You did say the Patriots. And
who went
Grant,
outright?
Who you have?
Just even though, none of the Bills starters will be starting, Joe Brady, I know that we haven't talked about him, but one thing about him is he's doing less with more there in Buffalo, because I'm not saying that the Bills don't have star power in their offensive weapons. It's just they don't have like that number one receiver or any top tier pass catcher, and Josh Allen's going to be probably in the MVP running, and he might lose it to Lamar, but he definitely should be in the top two. So I'm going to take the Bills to win and cover.
All right. Speaking of that, let's go to you, Pat. Another fast track game here. And for you, Pat, an Andrew Catalan, Tiki Barber, Jason McCourty, and AJ Ross special on CBS as the Giants take on the Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial, and the Eagles a 3-point favorite.
Why do we keep making Tiki Barber watch this shit?
It's
a joke. It's a joke.
It is not my decision.
I just don't get it. Like, why do we have a Giants legend watch this? It's so upsetting.
The powers that be.
But with that said, I think the Eagles' backups are better than the Giants at this point. So yeah, I will be going with the Eagles to cover.
I was just trying to get the CBS executive on to see if I could find out why he gave him that crew.
Is that McManus still or no?
I think it is, yeah. Hey, listen, I never complain about a crew. There's no such thing as a bad crew this year.
This has nothing to do with the crew. I think he's just complaining about.
Oh, no, it's all in good fun. As far as this game goes, I'm taking the Eagles minus the 3 because the backups for the Eagles are better, and Vic Fangio's defense will play better than Gus Bradley's defense played. That's why I will take the Eagles. Ben Cruz?
Yeah, Philly, take the money. At this point in time with the Giants, they're trying to get the number 1 pick,
Nick?
So the one question I'll ask, not that it's changing anything,
Sure.
but does Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley and a lot of the other starters, does that mean anything at all that they're not playing at all? Like they're just sitting everybody out. Does that mean anything?
Nope.
I think for me personally, I think it makes it a closer game, but I think they still win by a touchdown.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like Tanner McKee.
That's true. I forgot. It's not going to be Kenny Pickett.
It's not even Pickett. True. It's McKee that's starting, too.
Which, by the way, who almost lost his touchdown ball if it wasn't for, what was it, Dom, the security guard, getting it back. Take the money.
Nick D?
So, given that the Eagles are resting all their starters, I'm going with the Giants to win out.
I knew it.
You're going to win outright? It would no. This is something the Giants would do. This would like what I said about the Patriots. Like, all right, maybe they do that. it would be the most Giants thing to mess this up.
We just
And,
did.
Drew Lock did
We
play
Right,
well,
we just
actually.
did against the Colts.
Yeah, we just did. I mean,
Giants are
I can't argue that. I mean,
I think the Giants actually I think that the team is sort of on. I think that they're motivated. Believe it or not, I think the players and the coaches are just motivated to win this game, and the Eagles are not. And the fans don't want that. But yeah, give me the Giants.
That's why I was asking that question. Does that make a difference?
A huge difference.
It could, but I also think the Eagles are still very, very good. But and I wish I had 2 hours to talk with you guys about this because the reaction after that game on Sunday I thought was totally out of control and stuff. I mean,
I would say something, but I don't feel like getting in trouble again.
yeah. So we'll say that.
In what direction?
The offseason.
Wait. In what direction? When you say out of control, you're saying the people were too upset about it or too happy about it?
They were too upset about it. I mean, this was the best game. They're allowed to have a game like that, so they don't get Shador Sanders. Oh, big deal.
thanks. Thank you.
Right?
I completely agree as a Giants fan.
God.
I felt the same way. People were way too upset. People can't just smile and watch the team finally do something good.
But also the media is like this too, and we know the media is so anti-Giant, it's ridiculous. But this would have been the same group of people, maybe some of us even on here too, that if they would have lost 45-0 against the Colts, would have also been saying the same thing. So they're in a no-win spot.
The thing is, they're still in last place in the league. Don't they still have the number one pick anyway?
No, we have the
No.
4 now.
Can I
Or
say one
3 or
thing,
4?
Well, okay. I would rather my team lose than go from the first pick to the fourth pick.
I would, but as someone that doesn't want the QB that bad, I don't care.
Can
That's the
I
thing.
say
The
one thing, though?
the only thing it does is it gives you more control that you can maybe trade down and get
Like,
more.
I don't want the Jets to win.
Well, that's your choice. That's your prerogative. I mean, that's fine.
Like, to me, that just makes the most sense.
Well,
My worry as a Giant fan is that we end up trading up. Is that because we went down, we end up trading up and giving up assets we wouldn't need to. But if this knocks us out of the quarterback sweepstakes, I'm happy about it as a Giants fan because I don't want either of them.
can I
Bingo,
give
Pat. Nailed it.
Can I give another reason why I don't like Sanders? Yeah, now it just made me think of it also. That the stupid shoes in the display that he put on social
Oh, yeah,
media.
New York Giants shoes. Yep.
Those are it's all
Crazy thing to do with 2 regular season games left.
Like, come on.
Crazy thing to do.
Like, come on, dude. You had Giants shoes and you had Raiders shoes. Like, stop it. We know you're going to get drafted in the top 3.
By the way, this is how anti-Giant the media is. This was one of those stupid hypothetical
I
trades.
saw that. Yeah.
And again, it just shows you how anti-Giant the media is. It's like trying to sabotage the organization.
This has very Eli Manning draft vibes to it also, where, the Chargers drafted me, but I refuse to go there. Like, is that going to happen with Sanders too?
I don't think so.
I don't think he's good enough. Like, that's the thing. I think if anything, maybe Caleb would have done it last year if he really didn't want to go to Chicago, because I know there was questions about that, which didn't turn out to be true, obviously. But I don't think Sanders has the power. I think Travis Hunter is the clear best player in the draft talent-wise, and because Sanders isn't, he doesn't have the power to just say, I want to go here.
All I'll
But
say
maybe
is,
he will.
all I'll say
Sanders
is,
is going to get drafted before Hunter.
well, yeah.
I think so as well, but I think Hunter should talent-wise go above Sanders. Sanders will be drafted out of team need,
Well,
though.
he's a quarterback.
The team need.
He's a quarterback.
Yeah,
Well,
they're not talent, team need.
All I was going to say is don't put it past Dion. That's all I was going to say to cause waves. Anyway.
The offseason is going to be so much fun. You can tell already, right? Grant.
Yeah. I'm gonna take the Eagles to win cover here. I will say, even with them, start resting all their starters. Vic Fangio is a great defensive mind there, and he's transformed that defense because last year that defense didn't do that great. But I want to ask something. So, first, let me state this: I believe that the Giants will be doing a fresh start with head coach and GM possibly, just because they're both connected. I think that it would be smart to do that, and because of that, I think whoever the GM and the head coach are might make the mistake of trading up for the quarterback, which I have to say I don't think is that smart. So
I don't know. We'll see. Anthony?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Eagles to win and cover. I just can't see 2 games in a row where Drew Lock can keep the ball clean. I think he's probably gonna have a few turnovers, and like you guys said, the Giants' backups are probably better than the Giants' overall roster. And I can't wait for the offseason because I love Shador Sanders, and I think you guys are making a mistake doubting him. So I can't wait for the offseason.
Yes, you and I, Anthony, I promise we'll have a conversation about that. All right, Nick D, a Kevin Burkhardt, Tom Brady, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi special on Fox as the Saints head to Raymond James Stadium to face Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers. And the Bucks, a 2-touchdown favorite. Let me give you a quick playoff scenario here. So the Tampa Bay Bucks can clinch the NFC South division title if they win or tie, or Atlanta loses or ties.
Well, no, if the Bucks and Falcons. Oh yeah. You're right.
Yeah, because the Bucks
They
are 9 and
lose.
7, and the Falcons are 8 and 8.
Right. Okay. I really like the Bucks a lot. The Saints are kind of dead in the water at this point, and they don't have anything to play for. The Bucks do. I like the Bucks. I like the Bucks minus the 2 touchdowns, and I'll make this my lock of the week.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the Bucks have been playing great recently. I mean, Baker Mayfield, like over 4,000 yards, almost. He's got 39 touchdowns, I believe, something like that. And he's playing great. And Mike Evans is 85 yards away from 1,000. He's done that every year since he's gotten into the league, no matter who his quarterback is, which is very impressive. So I'm going to take the Bucks to win and cover.
Anthony?
Yeah, the Saints have absolutely nothing on offense right now. That's why they've looked completely awful the last few weeks. And the Buccaneers tend to cover these large point spreads. Baker Mayfield's having the best season of his career, probably a top 10 quarterback. And I've been loving what I've been seeing out of that offense with Bucky Irvin and Mike Evans and him. So give me the Buccaneers to win and cover.
Pat?
So I really want to take the Saints just because I think the Falcons I still want the Falcons to make the playoffs. Like, it's more of a want than it is I actually think it'll happen. But I do think if the Buccaneers win, the Saints, they won't cover. I think the Saints will make it close just because it's a divisional game. It feels like a game that has no reason to be close. So I think it might be. So I'll say Buccaneers, but no cover.
Oh, yeah. This is my lock of the week. I'm taking the Bucks. And for pretty much everything you guys have said, just the fun fact with this would be with the Bucks win, they would clinch their 5th consecutive playoff berth with a win. And I think they win and cover this, and my lock of the week. Ben?
Well, seeing this team with my 2 own eyes last week in person, this team is for real. I know that their defense, their secondary got a little bit bit by Adam Thielen in this game. But yeah, Baker Mayfield was absolutely electric. And he basically is like the pirate, I guess, if you're looking at it. He just kind of enables that. I mean, the Bucks fans, when I was there, they just love this guy, and deservedly so. And yeah, Mike Evans, I called it before the game last week, 2 tutties, he got that. He's trying to get more this week in terms of the 1,000 yards. So yeah, I got the Bucks here to win, and this is also my lock of the week.
And Nick?
Yeah, it's a big spread. But the Bucks are a much better team than the Saints. I mean, is Alvin Kamara even healthy, or was he shut down for the year?
He's shut down for the year.
Okay, that was really
not even healthy enough to get into fights at hotels.
Yeah, really. He can't even win that properly. I don't know. The Saints are a dumpster fire.
They got blown up by the Raiders last week.
Yeah, take the Bucks. It's usually way above my pay grade when it comes to a spread, but take the cover.
And so you will lay the 14. All right, Nick, I ended with you there, and I'll start with you here. This game has no scenario, so let's just go real quick on this one. Tom McCarthy, Jay Feely, Ross Tucker, Amanda Balionis special on CBS as the Houston Texans locked into the 4th seed take on the Tennessee Titans, and that's why the Titans are a 1.5 favorite.
So is Stroud starting? Is Mixon starting? Do we have anything on that at all?
I would assume not.
Because I've been so wrong about the Titans the last couple of weeks, like way off. So I have no idea. I have no idea which way to lean. I would say the Texans would be better than whatever the Titans put out there. I don't know who's starting for the Titans. Is it Mason Rudolph?
So the Titans are going with both quarterbacks. That's what their head coach did say
What?
this week. They're going with the two quarterbacks.
Yeah, both of them are getting a look apparently.
Yeah.
What do you think they are? Like Michigan?
Yeah, that smells disaster to me.
What do they think? They have two competent quarterbacks or something?
Yeah, Mayo
They
boy.
don't, but they think that.
Yeah, that smells disaster. Texans.
Nick D,
Texans.
Grant.
I'll just say the Texans because I don't know why they're going with both quarterbacks in Tennessee, but I'll give the Texans the upside.
Anthony.
Yeah, I feel like this point spread's telling you to take the Titans, but I think the Texans are still the better team, even if their starters are out. Even as much as the Texans have struggled and with the injuries they have, the Titans are a dumpster fire, and they're trying to get one of those quarterbacks as well. So give me the Texans.
Real quick, just to piggyback real quick. So D'Amico Ryans did say that it's his intent to play his starters on Sunday.
Oh, that makes it even better to pick the Texans.
But you can take that whatever which way.
Pat?
Take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt.
It depends. Pat, what do you have?
Texans. I mean, even if they play their starters for a quarter and a half, 2 quarters, I think they'll be able to hold off and win the game. The fact that the Titans are favorites, they have 3 wins. It's like
That's insane.
you just can't do it, in my opinion.
Well, it's probably because the public thinks that they're not going to play much. But see, I think they should because the Texans have not looked good at all for the last several weeks here. So
Yeah, keeping them on the field to potentially get hot would not be a bad option.
At least have a good feeling going into the playoffs. And that's why I will take the Texans to win this game.
Yeah.
And what about you, Ben?
Well, yeah. Anytime you put Will Levis in, you're asking for trouble. So yeah.
Even if it's first series. All right, so that's what happens there. All right, we go to the late window. Pat, a Chris Myers, Mark Schlereth, Jen Hale special on Fox. It's Kyler Murray and your Arizona Cardinals home to face Josh Dobbs and the 49ers. And the Cardinals at State Farm Stadium are laying 4.
The Cardinals have been the team this season, just to say that. I really like them coming into the year, and they look like they might have slipped into the playoffs, and then they imploded. They just imploded really, really hard. The Niners might have imploded worse, though. So this matchup's not good by any means. I'm just going to take the Cardinals because they're at home, but that's about it.
Yeah, exactly, Pat. I mean, they're home, they're healthier, they got the better quarterback, and I think they end on a very good note. They win this game by 2 scores. I'm going to take the Cardinals. Ben?
Yeah, I like the Cardinals. The Niners just have been way too banged up consistently. I know that obviously they kept up with the Lions close last week, but the Cardinals are more healthier. They're at home. They're a very good home team. Yeah, I like the Cardinals here. Take the money.
Oh, wrong one.
Nick?
My bad. So speaking of the Lions from last week against the 49ers, that almost destroyed my 3-pick parlay that I had last week. I had Bills money line, Commanders money line, and Lions minus 3.5. Like that last game almost cost me last week. I mean, thankfully I walked away with everything and I won it. But I don't know. The Niners kind of confused me last week that they played halfway decent against the Lions. But I don't know. This is actually a much closer matchup than I thought. Both teams have absolutely nothing, 0 to play for. I'll take the Cardinals, but I'm not confident about it.
Nick D.
I think Cardinals win, no cover.
Okay. And Grant?
I'll take Cardinals win and cover.
And
Yeah, I agree with you, Johnny. 2 teams that have imploded, but gotta go with the home team. So give me the Cardinals to win and cover.
there we go. All right, big playoff scenario in this game, Grant. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo, Tracy Wolfson special on CBS. It's Bo Nix and the Denver Broncos home at Empower Field at Mile High, home to face the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's not a typo. The Kansas City Chiefs are getting 10.5 points with Carson Wentz starting.
Well, I First off, before I go into what I'm going to take the Broncos, but I will admit I do really like Carson Wentz, and with Andy Reid as the play caller and everything, the Chiefs will play good, but they got nothing to play for. They've already got the first seed locked up. There's no point to really even try in this game, but you have to try because you're football players and you get paid millions of dollars. But I'm going to take the Broncos to win and cover.
Forgot to mention this at the open. Broncos can clinch a playoff berth with a win or tie, or a Miami loss or tie and Bengal loss or tie. Anthony.
Yeah, like I've been saying for weeks, this is ultimately going to be what puts the Bengals season to rest. The Broncos aren't going to lose to the Chiefs backups, but because of the coaching, I think Andy Reid's the best coach in football, and I think Steve Spagnuolo is probably the best defensive coordinator. I think just because of that alone, the Chiefs will be able to keep it close. But give me the Broncos and Bo Nix to win and clinch that playoff spot, but to win by no cover.
Pat.
I'm with Anthony here. I think Carson Wentz and the Chiefs are going to keep it close enough that the Broncos will win, but it'll be uncomfortable for a bit of that game. And it might get scary at some points, but I think the Broncos will win, but not cover.
I totally agree with that because, I mean, I pretty much echo everything you two just said. Now, you could also say, though, but the Chiefs did win this kind of scenario last year in Week 18, but that was against a worse quarterback and a team that had nothing to play for. I feel like this game sneakily – I just think it's too many points. I mean, even with the backups and the way that Denver's been playing too, their defense, again, the last couple of weeks has really fallen off. I mean, they may step up in the most important time, but it's hard to trust that defense to win this game by more than 11. So I think the Chiefs keep it inside the number, but I do think the Broncos do win and get in.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're talking about a one-loss football team in Week 18 getting 10 points. You know what I mean? At the end of the day.
For the Broncos, it could be the ugliest win in the world. They just need to win this game and get in.
Exactly.
Just for us, though, we have to determine if they're going to win this game by more than 11 points. And I just don't see that happening. Ben?
Yeah, I'm going on the Broncos no cover train. I think this number is way too big. And I think that this line probably should be around more like 6, 5, 6-ish. 10.5 is too much. So yeah, Broncos no cover.
That's the wackiness of Week 18. Nick Morganson?
Yeah, I'm going to echo that too. Broncos no cover. Patrick Mahomes being out is the major difference of this game completely. When he doesn't, or Kelsey, when they're out, they just don't score. Number one, and that's the biggest issue here. 10.5 points, having to win by 11. They'll win because the Chiefs are basically waving the white flag for the game, but they're just not going to cover. So Broncos no cover.
What about you, Nick D?
Broncos and cover. I like the Broncos to cover this. The Chiefs, they're playing all their they're resting all their starters. They're not even really trying to win this. How good do you think the Chiefs would be if they had this roster all year?
Oh, I think that's a fallacy of a predetermined outcome. A little bit.
No, I'm just saying. What do you think their record would be if they played this roster all year? They'd be one of the worst teams in the league.
500.
Yeah, if that. I think that's well, it's impossible to be 500 with 17 games. But
yeah, that's a good point.
I would say how about 500 going into this game?
Okay, fair enough.
There we go.
No, I still like the Broncos to cover this spread. I don't think it's too big. I actually think it makes perfect sense.
Very, very fair. All right, Ben, a Kenny Albert, Jonathan Vilma, Megan O'Leary special on Fox. As we head out to SoFi Stadium, it's Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. Yes, laying 6.5 points against the Los Angeles Rams, and that's not Matt Stafford and the Rams. That is Jimmy Garoppolo and the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, because Jimmy was my guy on my team for a while. I don't like this game at all, the junior side. The Seahawks haven't really impressed me, honestly, the last couple of weeks as well, too. Even the second half. Patriots go after DK Metcalf by this offseason. That's a little of a fun fact for me. But yeah, the Rams going to go upset here. Jimmy G wins it.
Okay. Going out with going on the money line on this one. Nick?
I think this is insane. I think they're still going to start their offensive weapons. They're just not starting Stafford, right?
Oh, I think there's I think there's several starters that are not playing on Sunday. Let me see if I can find out exactly.
I just think that they're giving Seattle a little too much credit in this game on the road. Like, this is big. Like, to win by 7 on the road in LA, I mean, not a chance. Rams upset.
So this is what I was telling you, the wackiness of Week 18 here. That this is a prime example of it, because the Rams still technically have a seeding scenario in this game too, but McVay's already said that a bunch of his starters, in fact, Stafford's not even, I don't think even going to be active. He might be like the emergency third string quarterback. Does anybody know who the backup to Jimmy Garoppolo is going to be?
It was Stetson Bennett.
It is Stetson Bennett, yes.
Was he the one that was like very overly hyped and never turned into anything?
He went to Georgia. He won the national championship.
He was Mr. Irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
He wasn't overly hyped at all.
That wasn't really hyped. Yeah.
You're thinking of somebody else.
he wasn't. He wasn't
He's overly
Mr.
hyped. No. What I think what Nick's trying to say is maybe not overly hyped, but Stetson Bennett was known for two things. He was Mr. Irrelevant when he got drafted, and also when he got drafted, he was older than about half the starters in the NFL.
Oh yeah, that's right. That I remember.
So,
Yeah.
Brandon Beaton was 28 when he was drafted.
Well, you know what? The way that college football is now, I mean, these guys can get drafted at 28.
Some guys are going to get drafted at
like 8th or 9th year. So
Maybe if they keep getting paid NIL money, they might.
yeah, that's part of it too. All right, Nick D, your Seahawks a 6.5-point favorite here.
Yeah, I like Seattle because the Rams are just not playing their starters, and the Seahawks are a good road team. They're actually a good road team. I don't think there technically is a seeding scenario with the Rams, but I don't know if they care about it that much. Whether they're the 3 or the 4 seed.
Mm-hmm. You're right.
So I think that's why they're like, if they're resting Stafford, they're probably going to rest all their starters. I can imagine. So that's why I like Seattle.
Grant?
I'm going to take Seattle because, they'll probably have more of their starters playing. And, this doesn't have anything to do with the game or the line, but Geno Smith needs 185 yards for like a $2 million incentive bonus or something like that. So,
That's right.
I think he'll want to get that. Just a little, little funny thing there.
Wait,
But,
do you think Seattle's going to pull a BS move and try to pull him before the 185 yards thrown? No, teams have done that before to avoid incentives.
Yes, but that's like Bill Belichick or coaches that are kind of like, mean to your players. I don't think that Mike McDonald.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's right.
Thank you. Finally, week 18, and I get that right. Jeez. I don't think Mike McDonald is that type of coach. I think if there are incentives in a certain player's contract, he'd do something to help him get it.
Grant,
Okay.
I think what we should do is, or what should happen is, if Mike McDaniel gets fired from the Dolphins after this season, we should put him on Mike McDonald's coaching staff.
Yes.
Although I'll tell you right now, that's not as much as I
it won't happen, but that would be funny.
It's not going to happen, but I'm just thinking about that. Anthony, what do you have?
Yeah, I'm right with Grant. Yeah, the Seahawks as a team doesn't have nothing to play for, but Geno Smith sure as hell does, and that $2 or $3 million would be surely nice. And I think they'll go out and do it. So give me the Seahawks to win and cover.
Pat?
Actually, kind of a tough one for me. The Rams are 9-2 in their last 11 games. They've beat the Bills. They've beat the Vikings. Their losses for to the Eagles and Dolphins, like two solid teams. Like the Rams have been really good, but just they're resting their starters. The Seahawks aren't I guess I'm gonna go with the Seahawks. I don't want to, but
A lot of stay away games this week, honestly. Nick, I'm not gonna lie. I had a tough time making this pick because of that exact scenario, that incentive scenario that you brought up with Geno Smith.
Oh, okay.
Because I almost could see a situation where they could pull him and put in Sam Howell.
That's what I'm talking about.
But the big reason also why I'm going to lay the 6.5 with the Seahawks is road field advantage, and the Seahawks are 6-1 away from Lumen Field, and I think they'll get the 7-1. I think Geno Smith is going to play well, and because of the Rams, I know their defense could still play well, but I think because they want to go out on a good note, the Seahawks had an awful, even though they won 6-3, that was a pretty ugly game a couple of weeks ago. I think they want to end on a good note here. So I will lay the 6.5 and take the Seahawks.
Watch, he's going to get 184 yards, and they're going to pull him out.
That would be epic, yeah. And Ben, you went already, so I don't want to go back to you twice. So that's where we'll go there at SoFi Stadium. Nick D, it is in fact a Kevin Harlan, Trent Green, Melanie Collins special on CBS as the Los Angeles Chargers take on the suddenly hot Las Vegas Raiders at Allegiant Stadium, and it's the Chargers a 4.5-point favorite.
So the Chargers, they're not resting their starters, right?
So the Chargers actually, it's funny you say that. So very interesting scenario, very tricky scenario with the Chargers because they've already clinched a wild card spot, but their seed remains to be determined. It all depends on Saturday night's Bengals-Steelers game. Because if the Steelers win on Saturday, then the Chargers are locked into the 6th seed no matter what happens Sunday. And if the Steelers lose, then the Rams would get the 5 seed if they win and the number 6 seed with a loss.
So I actually have Harbaugh's quote on the situation. When speaking to reporters, he said the plan is to win. And then when the reporters brought up if the Steelers on Saturday do get the win, if the Steelers on Saturday do get the win and their seed cannot change, what would happen? His answer was, we'll do what's best for the team. So he basically,
it's hard to make a pick with this game because it really depends on what happens on Saturday. So here's what I'll say. Because my pick was the Steelers over the Bengals, I'm going to go with the Raiders.
Okay.
So because I'm just following the trajectory of my picks.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Honestly, if you are going to put money on this game, you are going to put a bet down, it's probably best to wait till Sunday morning to do so.
Well, yeah, because the line will change drastically.
Yeah, but unfortunately, we cannot do that here on Football Forecast.
Well, that's why it's a forecast.
That's
there you go. See,
I'm gonna take the Chargers to win and cover. They've got the better team. They've got the better head coach. There's no need to explain beyond that. So I'm gonna take the Chargers to win and cover.
Anthony?
Just like Nick D said, I gotta go with the trajectory of my picks, and I actually picked the Bengals to win. So because of that, I'm gonna go with the Chargers to win because that is a huge difference. I mean, the 5th seed is probably gonna play the Texans. The 6th seed is probably gonna play the Ravens. So I mean, you take your pick on who you want to play in that game. So give me the Chargers to win and cover.
Pat?
I'm right there with you guys. I mean, it's the same thing. I picked the Bengals, so I feel obligated, like I have to pick the Chargers because I feel like the Chargers are only -4 because of the uncertainty right now. I feel like they would be a lot higher if there was no uncertainty, so I'd have to go with the Chargers with 4.5. Even if the Steelers end up winning, maybe even the Chargers backups can pull it off at 4.5.
Yeah, I that's exactly where I'm going to go at, even by accident. I know the Raiders have played great the last couple of weeks, but even by accident, I think the Chargers can get a 5-point win out of this no matter what. So I will lay them and take the Chargers there at Allegiant Stadium. Ben?
Yeah, I don't really care in terms of what the line is. I'm going with the Chargers here. Better team, better coach.
Nick Morganson?
yeah, Chargers. They're the much better team. Raiders have nothing. Chargers are still motivated to play. Take them.
We got a lone wolf.
Do we?
Yeah,
But
Nick D.
Lone Wolf was more.
Yeah.
Nick D took the Raiders. That's right.
Yeah, he was the only one that took the Raiders.
Taking the road less traveled.
All
right.
right.
Well, there's less traffic on the road, less traffic.
Yes. All right. So 2 games left in the season, but in the regular season. But Nick, you wanted to treat us with something here for the penultimate game of the regular
Yes.
season?
So I put something together for Aaron Rodgers because he said something really stupid in his last press conference, but that's not different than normal. I'll let you watch the video and then I'll explain it after.
The final countdown. The final countdown. The final countdown. The final countdown. It's the final countdown. The final countdown. The final countdown. Oh, it's the final countdown. We are leaving together. The final countdown. Love, Mr. So. The final countdown. Yeah. It's for the final countdown. The final countdown. The final countdown. The final countdown. It's the final countdown. The final countdown. The final countdown. Oh, it's the final countdown. We're leaving together. The final countdown. Law of Mr. So. The final countdown. Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, it's not the same as the past videos, but I tried.
that was really, really good. And hopefully for you, there'll only be one more time that you have to do that. And well, maybe might be the last time.
I hope so.
Well, I mean, unless there's news between now and Super Wildcard Weekend. All right. Well, the penultimate game of the regular season, Nick, goes to you, as it looks like it's going to be, well, the signs are pointing towards another Tyler Huntley start for the Miami Dolphins as they go to MetLife Stadium to take on Aaron Rodgers and your Jets, a rare home box game for the Jets. And that means it's a Joe Davis, Greg Olsen, Pam Oliver special. And it's the Dolphins a 1-point favorite.
Yeah, Dolphins, not even thinking about it twice. The Jets have absolutely nothing to play for. The media is totally against them. Aaron Rodgers basically saying that he's not sure if it's his last game with the Jets. Is he going to retire? He's making a mess. If I had a second lock, I'd put it on it right now. But I don't. Dolphins win by a lot.
Nick D.
No, I really like the Jets this game.
What?
I really love the Jets. First of all, the Dolphins without Tua, with Tyler Huntley starting, are one of the worst teams in the league. That is worth noting.
They have to win.
Okay. If they win, they're probably still out. The Broncos are playing the Chiefs, resting all their starters. So I don't. They're playing the Broncos. They're playing at the same time, right?
Yes.
I think they do that on purpose.
Okay.
Obviously,
All
yeah.
425 starts. Yes.
So I think that. Okay, so they're going. Even though they have something to, I think that the Jets are going to screw up their draft stock. That's what I think they're going to do. That would be the most Jets thing. We need them to lose this game, but knowing the Jets, they would win this game. And the Dolphins are a very beatable team if Tua doesn't play. They're a beatable team. They're one of the worst teams in the league without Tua. So I actually really like the Jets to win this. They're going to win outright. They shouldn't, but they will.
Okay.
I think they will.
By the way, real quick, so to Nick D's point, Dolphins clinch a playoff berth with a win and a Denver loss. So,
Would you put it past the Chiefs to possibly win this game, though?
No, that's why I took them to cover.
I would. Well, cover.
Right.
Covering is one thing. I would put it past them to actually win this outright.
Even by accident, maybe if they stumble, it could happen.
Yeah.
Anything
I
could
put
happen.
Money line. But yeah. Grant?
I don't care if I get this wrong because the 1-point spread. Give me the Dolphins to win and cover.
Anthony?
Yeah, I agree with absolutely everything that Nick said. And I'm not talking Nick Morganson. I'm talking about Nick DiMartino. I'm going to have to go with the Jets on this one. Like I said, I can't trust Tyler Huntley. And like I said with the Bengals, I think all those scenarios are going to happen but one, and that's going to be the Broncos winning. But I do think this game will go the Bengals' way, so give me the Jets to win.
Pat?
I'm with them. I think the Jets pull it off. I think Rodgers ends on a bang. I think he's gonna do it just to put a last middle finger to the Jets franchise before he walks away, too. I mean, come on, it's gonna happen, Nick. Don't look at me like that. Don't you look like that? It's gonna happen. So, Jets.
I 1,000% agree with Nick Morganson. I'm taking the Dolphins. Although I got to tell you, I agree with Pat too. I absolutely could see that. That could definitely be the case. That would be very Aaron Rodgers and Jet-like for that to happen too. But this one I actually agree with Morganson on because, Huntley, when the news broke on, Saturday, that Tua was not going to play, everybody panicked, and understandably so. But Tyler Huntley, doesn't matter who he did it against, played well enough. And actually, his quarterback rating on Saturday was Aaron Rodgers only matched that twice this season. So I think he goes in there and does it again. The Jets are also so banged up too. They had 5 key players that didn't even practice on Thursday. So even with that, this maybe the under is the better play in this game, but I will take the Dolphins to win this over the Jets. And Ben.
Yeah, this is kind of tough because it's Aaron Rodgers' probably last game, but the Dolphins need to get in to make the playoffs, even though they have a really tough chance to. But without Tua, I'm leaning toward the Jets. I think we're going to have one more discount double check shown by Aaron Rodgers and find a way to bang it out. The Jets are going to be pulling the Giants of last week. Let's all be clear right now because that's New York sports football right now.
By the way, the over-under is 39.
I don't like putting a bet down on any part in this game, but just for this, I will take the Dolphins over the Jets. All right, game 272, guys. This is what it comes down to.
Thank you, NFL.
It's for all the NFC, the NFC marbles, and Anthony will go to you here. Mike Tirico, Chris Collinsworth, Melissa Stark special on Sunday Night Football on NBC. The 14-2 Vikings and the 14-2 Lions at Ford Field. One of the bigger totals of the year, too, is in this game. But spread-wise, we've got the Lions laying 2.5.
This is a record, by the way, for most wins in a matchup, right?
I think so, yeah. And just think there will be a 14-win team playing on the road on Super Wildcard Weekend.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, this game is now bringing into question how they do the playoff season. Now it makes you think, like, should all division leaders automatically get a top 4 seed, or should they just get in the playoffs and we should be having these two teams as a top 4 seed? Because it's definitely a travesty that one of these two teams, the loser of this, is now going to have to go on the road for the entirety of the playoffs. And I just don't think that's fair to either of these teams because these are two of the best teams in football. I think the deciding factor in this one is I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings to win this game and take the number 1 seed. I know the Lions have pretty much had that number 1 seed for most of the season. They look like a juggernaut. But when I look at this team, I think the Vikings are the more complete team. I mean, when honestly, if you look at the NFL right now and all the top teams, most of the top teams do have a weakness. Kansas City, you can't really trust their offense. The Buffalo Bills, you can't trust their defense. Detroit has the injuries on defense. And now you got the Eagles with the injury to Jalen Hurts. Minnesota is great on the defensive side of the ball and on the offensive side of the ball. They're the most complete team in football, and I think because of that defense, I think that will be the difference in this one. I do think that the Lions will obviously keep it close. It's going to be a tremendous game that's going to come down to the final play. But give me the Minnesota Vikings, who I think are the most complete team in football right now.
Pat?
The Vikings have been absurd this year. I mean, if you would have told everyone before the season started that this Week 18 game would determine the number 1 seed in the NFC, I think people would have looked at you with like, huh? Like, what are you talking? Like, what are you talking about? Like, the Vikings had what 4.5 win total, I think, before the season started. It was crazy. Just looking at where they're at now is crazy. I could very well see them winning this game, but I mean, I think I got to go with the Lions. They've just been a powerhouse. That offense is just so nice. That defense definitely could be better. I don't know though. I just feel like the Vikings offense might not be able to keep up. It's going to be a close game regardless, though. I think it's going to be potential game of the year caliber kind of game, and I think that we will see, we will see a battle here for sure, I think. So I'm going to take the Lions, but really close game that I think will come down to late in the game.
Yeah, to me, this comes down to what do we think this game is going to be? Do we think this game is going to be a shootout or a lower scoring game? Because if we take the over and make this a shootout, I think it's Lions. I think if it's a lower scoring game and it's under, I think it's the Vikings. But I am taking the Vikings plus 2.5. I think they do win this game for 2 reasons. Number one, momentum. I think they, like Anthony said, they're playing some of the best football of the year. They have serious momentum heading into the postseason. Number two, the line injuries on defense. And we even saw that in some of the game against the 49ers. Those defensive injuries are really starting to pile up and starting to affect them. They've got to play shootout football. And I think that's hard to do against a Brian Flores defense. And Brian Flores' defense, you know what they like to do? They like to play zone defense, which Jared Goff struggles against. So I think that's a huge difference in this game. I think I'm going to take the under, and I'm going to take the Vikings to win the NFC North and the number 1 seed in the NFC. Ben.
Yeah, this is a game that, like, you just feel bad for who's going to lose because both teams are 2 of the best teams in the league. I'm gonna go with the Vikings because the Lions beat them at third place last time, and I think that roles are going to reverse. Partly as well too, the Lions defense is really, really banged up. They gave up a ton of points last week against San Francisco. I know you could be like, well, San Francisco has a really good offense, but they were really banged up and they really weren't playing great until then. So it was a little bit of a shocker, to be honest, for that. But Sam Darnold has been absolutely incredible this year. Their offense is really clicking. Their running game looks great. Justin Jefferson is an offensive player of the year candidate, at least in my book. So, you got, Kevin O'Connell, Ben Johnson, just everything's great about this game. I'm leaning towards the Vikings here with the upset, but it can really go either way.
Nick Morrison.
I got the Vikings also in the upset. By the way, we're not talking about the running back matchup in this matchup too. Aaron Jones and
Jahmyr Gibbs.
Jahmyr Gibbs. I think that's a really good running back matchup. I think the receivers, like across the board, the matchups are going to be great. The thing that scared me last week with the Lions, giving up 34 points to the Niners last week. And I think that's a problem because they have to outscore their own defense to win games, which is a problem. And I think that's going to be a problem again. I think the Vikings are a much higher level competitor that they're playing this time around. If they make mistakes, they're going to pay for it in a big way. Sam Darnold has played really well to the tune of now they're talking about the Vikings trading J.J. McCarthy away for massive amounts of picks in value to get something back and name Sam Darnold the start, which, by the way, I think they should do because I think Sam Darnold is actually fitting in. If you saw that video after their last game where they're dumping pails of water all over him after the game, the guy fits. He's a chemistry guy. So I think the Lions defense will be the downfall. Take the Vikings plus 2.5.
Nick D.
I like the Lions to win and cover. I think both these teams are fairly good. I just think I like the Lions as the home team. And I think they can just beat you in so many different ways. And they just always seem to find ways to win these games, it seems like. I think they're going to win. And I also think this game will be very high scoring, I think. So I really like the Lions and Jared Goff I think they win by maybe a little over a field goal. Anywhere from like 3 to 7 points, I think. So within one score.
By the way, the over-under is 56.5 currently.
Yeah, that's very high.
So we've had the highest spread of the season, and this is one of the highest totals of the year too.
Right. Highest total.
So yeah,
that's a lot.
It is, especially in an NFL game for sure. All right, Grant, you got this. What do you got?
So whoever wins this game gets the number 1 seed, and I'm a Bears fan, and we're going to be starting the head coaching search on Monday or Wednesday or whenever you're allowed to actually formally put in requests for interviews. And when you the only way that you can interview coaches are if they're knocked out or if they have a bye. So I really want the Bears to interview Ben Johnson. So I really want the Lions to get the bye so we can interview him. Now, I'm not saying I'd be disappointed if the Vikings win, but with how bad the Bears have been this season, I have always been rooting for the Lions a little bit because of how great they've been. So I'm going to take the Lions to win and cover.
All right. And one final thing real quick. If this game, let's say, ends in a 30-30 tie.
Oh, strength of victories, right?
Well, the Lions will be the number 1 seed if this game ends in a tie as well. So if they win or tie, they get the number 1 seed. Otherwise, if the Vikings win, obviously they get it. And that means there will be a 14-win team that goes on the road in Super Wildcard Weekend. And that, my friends, is the 2024 regular season in the National Football League.
It's crazy, right? I mean, holy cow.
Yep.
We made it through 18 weeks. Don't fret. We will be here for the playoffs all the way through to our Super Bowl live stream whenever we figure that out. So we will be with you all the way through the playoffs. And obviously when the playoffs are over, we'll have an off-season version of this show as well that Anthony will be doing and with some other friends as well. So
I won't be doing
it. You won't be doing it.
I need an off-season.
You need an off-season. So do I.
Yeah,
I'll do it if you need anyone.
We'll get everybody in. We'll find a way. But follow us on social media at TFB Forecast ETB for all the latest information on this show. This obviously drops earlier because we recorded it a little bit earlier in the week. So stay tuned. Obviously, you'll get Sunday night, Monday night. Wait, is there even Monday? No, Sunday night.
No Monday.
I got to make sure I readjust my brain for some of these clips because it's a little different this week. Saturdays and Sundays. You'll get those clips this week, plus some other stuff, locks of the week, some loud hot takes and opinions. If you want to hear my Shadur Sanders take again, maybe you'll hear that again. But yeah, so make sure as well, follow our YouTube channel, youtube.com/ETB Network. Find all our shows, find this show, find all the latest shorts and clips and everything as well. YouTube.com/ETB Network as well. And also, if you want to listen to the audio version of this podcast as well, go check it out wherever you get your podcast on any audio platform. It will be available. And the Football Forecast is presented by Playback. Check out our platform as well. More NBA coming. Now I'm hearing wrestling coming. Major League Baseball coming in the new season, hopefully soon. Playback.tv/ETB Network as well. Did I leave anything out? I think I nailed everything.
You got it.
Whew. All right. So this is the end of the regular season. Like I said, go enjoy the football in Week 18, even though a lot of these games are senseless and useless and mean nothing. But there are some games to watch. So go enjoy it. And we will be back next week for the wild card round.
Yes, Super Wild Card Weekend.
Do it.
So go enjoy the football. And we'll see everybody next week. So have a good day, everybody. We'll see you next week.
See you.